Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlintz, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. I think it's episode 131. And today on this episode, I'm going to share with you my crazy week last week. And this is going to be a little bit of a vulnerability podcast and almost like a State of the Union, kind of what's been going on for the last year and a half. And you guys have asked me questions. How does that actually work? What are you doing? Are you in Philadelphia? Are you in North Carolina? So I kind of wanted to go through that just a little bit and share my story and kind of what happened last week as a culmination of a lot of the things. And hopefully as you listen to this episode, if you're in a similar situation, it will probably not be exact, but you're in a similar situation where you're maybe going through some tough times. You're trying to figure out, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? And if that light is good, or if it's a train, I think my story in some ways probably will help you. And that's what this podcast is all about, is just giving you, whether it's practical information or just some inspiration to be able to push through some obstacles that you may have experienced. So you might be thinking, okay, what happened last week and how bad was it? It actually was a very, very good thing on a lot of fronts. So as you guys know, I have been in the process of commuting between North Carolina. I have a practice down here in North Carolina. Then I have kind of a reinventing myself up in the Philadelphia area and doing some work up there. So for the last year, give or take, I've been commuting to and from North Carolina to Philadelphia. And probably the last 30 to 40 weeks, I've been doing a weekly commute. So I will literally be hopping on a plane on Monday morning from Philadelphia. I will get over to the airport, hop on a plane, get to Charlotte, about an hour and a half drive from Charlotte, start my practice 12 to 5, then work all day on Tuesday till about 3 or 4, hop back in a car, drive to the Charlotte airport, fly back into Philly, be in Philly around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, give or take. Then be in the Philadelphia area Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, get back up ridiculously early on Monday, do the same thing all over again. And I actually, it's kind of morphed over time. It didn't start that way. I kind of streamlined the entire process as I started to do it more regularly. But it was physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausting. It was really starting to take its toll on me. I had very little energy during the week. My sleep schedule was all jacked up. My diet was all jacked up. My exercise schedule was all jacked up. Like nothing of the habit patterns I'm used to forming were there. And it was actually starting to really affect me. And I kind of had to make a decision. So a few months ago, I had a dentist come in on Wednesdays. I was doing Wednesdays. I was kind of doing 3 days of my practice. And then I got down to 2 days, and I knew my practice wasn't going to be able to run the way I wanted it to on 2 days a week. So I brought the dentist in to kind of cover on Wednesdays, see how that was working. He was really interested in the practice. He loved the team, loved the area, decided he wanted to move forward with the practice purchase, which was great. So we were able to finalize that. And so last week on Friday, the practice sale was finally complete. It was a little bit, it took a long time to get there, and then it happened very quickly. More quickly even than I had anticipated. And it felt a little bit, it was a little bit rushed, but he wanted to get in there. I wanted to kind of move on, restart, if you will. I loved my patients. I loved my team. I loved being an owner. But it was so physically and mentally exhausting. And I knew being in Philadelphia was kind of where I wanted to be long-term. So I had to make a decision. It was not an easy decision, but it had to be done. So that was done. That was Friday. I couldn't make anything official until it was officially completed. There's still a transition period and going through all that stuff. That's interesting as well. But it's going well. It's going as well as you can, I guess, expect it to go whenever you transition ownership and things like that. So that happened on Friday. 3 days prior, some of you know this. It's not something that you typically bring up on a podcast episode, like, hey guys, I'm getting a divorce. But 2 years ago, no, not 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, my wife and I had separated. And in North Carolina, you have to kind of go through a trial separation period, and the divorce process takes a little bit longer and was kind of drawn out. And that finally kind of came to an end on the prior Tuesday. And, that is emotionally exhausting, even though, both of us had been ready to kind of complete that process. It was exhausting. So you have the practice sale on Friday, basically finalizing a divorce on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I was temping in an office. It's one of the things I've been doing, and it's given me a unique insight into the dental field. I was temping in an office probably about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. And I came in, and I'm not jumping into a new practice. I'm helping with Dr. Paola Bukovcan help Sleek Smile Studio and Harmony Dental Health. I've been working in her offices and helping her build those, and she's just doing some amazing things. And so I'm just happy to be a part of that. And it fits very well with me doing more full mouth cases and TMJ oriented cases. I don't really actually need to be a practice owner with a hygiene schedule in order to do what I like to do. And part of that is me recreating how I want to practice dentistry. And so that's worked very well. But in the meantime, as we're kind of establishing that and me growing that side of things for myself, I've been temping. And it just gives me something to do. I'd love to say I could practice, or I could coach 7 days a week, and I'm all about that. And that's inevitably one of the goals as well. But right now, it's a weird transition period, and I have a little bit of free time now that I didn't before. And I said, okay, I'm going to temp out of some offices just to give me something to do, as if I'm not busy enough. But it helps with the transition. It puts me in a position where I don't feel like I need to do certain things to make it work. So I'm temping. And I had an offer to basically temp throughout the month of March at 3 days a week. And I know this is going to sound terrible, and I want you guys to hear it from me first. It's actually in a corporate office. You guys go, how could you be in a corporate dentistry? Like, you talk about how you don't like corporate dentistry. Listen, I don't have anything necessarily against corporate dentistry. It just isn't how I would design my practice. But in the short term, I feel like they've given me some control of treatment planning, and I don't feel like I'm doing anything that's detrimental to a patient. So I'm okay with that. Like, this is not a permanent thing. This is probably going to be a month-long thing, maybe a little bit longer. I have no idea. But I don't want you guys to feel like, oh my gosh, she's selling out on us. I'm not. Temping to me is in a time of need, this office needs some help. I'm there. I'm available. It's conducive to my schedule. I'm going to go ahead and take that opportunity, knowing that it's not a long-term thing. So rest assured, I'm not moving into the corporate direction. It's just something that I feel is helping with the transition and giving me a little bit of breathing room as I'm helping with Sleek and Harmony develop that and grow that and build the TMJ side. So now that I know I'm here permanently, I actually can go full bore into that. And so that's given me a unique insight into the corporate model. I've never been in a true corporate practice. I've been in corporate-like practices when I worked as an associate, but I've never actually been in a true corporate model. And I actually think that's making me a better coach because I'm seeing stuff that I wouldn't have seen. And so I would be naive to say, all corporate offices are like this or like that. I don't know that. I'm speaking naively if I say that. But being in a corporate office, I can kind of see how they run, what the management style looks like for this particular corporate office. And it gives me a little bit better balance when I do talk to clients about moving in a fee-for-service direction. Because believe me, I still feel that that's the way to go. I feel that building a wellness-based practice is the best way to stay viable in the 21st century as a practice, as a solo provider. And you can do some amazing dentistry that you can't do in any other business model than if you start to move in a more wellness-based, relationship-based style practice. So if you've listened to 130 episodes before that, you know that's where I stand. And that's never going to change. So me working as a temp in a corporate, I just don't want you to think that I'm selling out, because I'm not. But I think it's important for me also to be able to get some level of stability around me so I can be in my creative state as much as possible. So with that being said, last week I sold the practice. I finalized a divorce. I got a 3-day-a-week part-time job. And now I'm up here full-time in Philly. And I will tell you, the light at the end of the tunnel is not necessarily a train. I feel relieved that most, if not all, of these kind of hanging things in the air have been taken care of. I can move forward. I'm really excited about what I'm going to be able to do as a result of this. I have a lot more time to be able to dedicate to my coaching clients, which I'm really excited about. I have some exciting things planned for them. I'm going to be able to basically do some of the things I've always wanted to do on the dental side of things without being bridled with the travel schedule that I was going through. Anybody who tells you, yeah, traveling's great and I get to travel all over and look at me, I'm cool. I'm telling you, the mental toll of traveling, I don't think I could describe adequately to somebody unless they've done it. So I feel like I'm going to be a lot better coach now for others because I'm back and rooted in a position and I don't have to travel all the time. There's a book, The E-Myth, if you guys have not read it, by Michael Gerber. And he talks about when you switch from one hat to the other, if you're a leader hat and now you're putting on a managerial hat, there's a lag time. And that's actually been studied and proven that there's a lag time between putting on one hat and another hat and then being able to get back to a task. Or if you switch from one task to the next, there's a lag time that your brain has to basically recalibrate itself. When you travel, that whole thing is magnified. It's very difficult. Try doing some work in an airport, and being productive with that. Try conducting your coaching calls like I've done for the last year in a hotel room. It's very difficult to do successfully. And so I'm excited to get back to that. Just that routine and that structure that allows me to put out my best content, my best coaching, my best dentistry on a continual basis. I'm pumped about that. With that being said, there's going to be some reorganization, even how I take coaches or clients through my coaching platform, what the platform is going to look like, what I'm going to be coaching. If you are an actual client and you're listening to this, I would encourage you to reach out to colleagues. This is my shameless plug, but colleagues that would benefit from the coaching platforms that I have, whether it's Thinking in Results, Dental Sales Secrets. If you've worked with me in the past and you've gotten value, I encourage you to reach out to colleagues that would benefit from what it is that I do, and have them schedule a call with me before March 15th of 2020. That's like a week away. If you listen to this later, I still encourage you to have them reach out to me. But there's some things that I'm doing right now that I'll be doing for another week to get as much value to them as possible before some reorganization of the coaching platform takes place. I want them to be on the front end of that, and I want them to be able to get the best value possible. And so that's my shameless plug. I'm just pumped to be able to be on the other side of this. And obviously I know the work is not done yet, but it's just given me some mental space again. And I'm feeling great in terms of the creativity side of me and the parts that I do really well, I'm going to be able to get back to. So with that being said, if you've listened to this and you've gotten any inspiration, I hope you have. I appreciate you guys listening. We have almost 15,000 downloads now, which is amazing. I don't do interviews. I don't really promote this podcast. So it's a little bit of a different format. And, that means a lot. And it also means that I tend not to know if you guys are listening or not. So I would appreciate reviews, ratings on the actual podcast itself. That would help me immensely. Like I said, if you know people that are looking to move more towards a wellness-based practice, maybe they are kind of sick of where they're at in their practice and they're looking to reinvent themselves. I would love to work with you. I'd love to be able to share some of my experiences and be able to help you get where you want to go. It's the thing that I pride myself on the most. It's one thing that I can do more comprehensive care, but if I can help you do more comprehensive care, get that fulfillment, get that joy and passion out of dentistry again, that's what I'm all about. And just excited to be able to start this new journey in my life and be able to help my clients and my patients at the highest level. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. Next episode will probably not be a vulnerable episode. I probably won't have an episode like this again for hopefully a long, long time. I'm German by descent, so we don't like to share our emotions very much. But just know that if you're in a position where you need some help, hopefully this podcast can help you. You can reach out to me, even if it's for moral support. I'm here for you. I'd be happy to help you any way that I possibly can. And thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you at the next episode.